Autumn in Boston brings a sudden chill to the air, especially in the evening when I, Audrey Lambert, was returning home from my office. The red leaves on the street trees swayed in the wind, and cold rain struck my cheeks. Looking out the window of my corporate finance firm on the 35th floor of a sleek skyscraper, I felt the fatigue of another day of high-stakes client meetings. My framed Wharton MBA and industry certifications lined the wall behind my desk, silent testaments to my expertise. My reputation as a financial consultant to Fortune 500 companies was stellar, and my clients trusted my strategic insights implicitly. That was my only consolation. "Audrey, that presentation was absolutely brilliant," my colleague Naomi Chen said with a genuine smile. "The client couldn't stop talking about your innovative approach," she said. Audrey answered while gathering her financial projections and sliding them into her designer briefcase. "Thank you. But I'm calling it a day. I need to get home now." "Oh right. Tonight is the Lambert family dinner, isn't it?" At Naomi's words, I let out a small sigh. "Are they still treating you the same way?" Naomi added with a concerned frown. The Lambert family. Even after 8 years of marriage, I still felt like an unwelcome outsider, my middle-class background an unforgivable flaw in their eyes. I got into the company car and headed toward my home in an upscale Beacon Hill neighborhood. The driver, an older man named Frank, had been with the service for years. "Beautiful neighborhood in the fall, isn't it, Mrs. Lambert?" he commented, trying to make conversation. "It is, Frank," I replied, my mind elsewhere. 8 years ago, when I met Maxwell, he'd been charming and attentive, full of warmth and consideration. We married after a whirlwind romance, but after the wedding, his demeanor gradually transformed. As the car moved through Boston's rain-slicked streets, I discreetly checked my phone, reviewing documents for Holloway Financial Strategies, my secret exit plan named after my mother's maiden name. When I arrived home, Maxwell wasn't back yet. It was typical. Lambert Properties always had important matters that kept him away until late. I took a quick shower and began preparing dinner, feeling the weight of the Lambert family photos watching me from the mantel, images where I always seemed slightly removed from the core family. In the refrigerator was a gourmet casserole I'd made yesterday. I warmed it in the oven while checking my emails. There were no messages from Maxwell. The sound of the front door opening announced Maxwell's return. In the past, he would have embraced me when he got home and whispered, "You worked hard today." But now, he just strode through the living room and offered me a perfunctory greeting. "I'm late. Is there anything to eat?" he asked. I answered with a practiced smile, "Yes, I warmed up the casserole, and I made a fresh arugula salad too." Maxwell sat down at the table silently and immediately began checking his phone, a faint smile playing on his lips as he typed a response to someone. I tried to make conversation while serving the food. "How was work today?" "The usual. There was some trouble with the Bixby Tower project, but we managed to resolve it," Maxwell answered without taking his eyes off his phone, his thumb scrolling through what appeared to be Instagram posts. "I see. That's good," I said as I served food onto my plate. "By the way, about Penelope's engagement party this weekend, is there anything specific I should bring?" I asked. Maxwell looked up for the first time. "Mom has arranged everything, so you don't need to bring anything. More importantly, Dad is bringing Crawford Sr. after the party. He's practically a Supreme Court nominee. Please try not to disrupt things." I paused momentarily with my fork but quickly composed myself, feeling the familiar sting. "Disrupt? What exactly do you mean by that?" "I'm talking about the usual. Don't use your professional jargon in front of my mother and family. It makes everyone uncomfortable," he said. "Professional jargon?" I frowned, feeling my expertise being diminished once again. "When have I ever been inappropriate at family gatherings?" I asked. Maxwell pushed his plate away and stood up, his Patek Philippe watch glinting under the dining room lights. "Last Sunday, when Dad was talking about his investment portfolio, you started discussing debt-to-equity ratios and tax implications. That made Dad uncomfortable. Can you please refrain from such technical financial talk in front of my family? Not everyone wants a lecture during dinner," he said. I was speechless, my professional dignity wounded. I had only been trying to contribute meaningfully to the conversation. As a financial consultant to major corporations, I had merely provided accurate information that might have saved my father-in-law from a questionable investment. Maxwell, I was simply trying to, I said. That's enough, Maxwell waved his hand dismissively. I'm tired. I need to check some reports in my study. Please clean up here, he said. I was left alone, staring at my half-eaten dinner, the irony of my situation not lost on me. The companies that paid thousands for my financial advice couldn't get enough of my insights, yet my own family treated me expertise as an embarrassment. Outside the window, the rain intensified, drops striking the glass like tiny accusations. This cold, loveless arrangement wasn't the marriage I had envisioned 8 years ago. My cell phone rang, and the screen displayed my mother-in-law's name, Victoria Lambert. I took a deep breath before answering, steeling myself. Good evening, Victoria. Audrey, I need to speak with you about Penelope's engagement party. Victoria's voice carried its usual haughty, condescending tone. What are you planning to wear? I'd strongly prefer you avoid anything too conspicuous or inappropriate. The Crawfords will be there, and they're Boston's most influential family. This is Penelope's special day, and we mustn't have anything distracting from it, she said. I closed my eyes and maintained my composure, remembering my own mother's emotional collapse after my father's betrayal, how she'd never stood up for herself. Of course, Victoria. I'll wear an appropriately subdued dress. And your parents won't be attending, naturally? There was unmistakable relief in Victoria's voice. My parents had been middle-class teachers who passed away 2 years ago. Their very existence had always been treated as an embarrassment by the Lambert family, a stain on their perfectly curated social image. No, they won't be coming, I answered matter-of-factly, a dull pain throbbing in my chest at the casual dismissal of my deceased parents. Good. Then we'll see you on Saturday. I've asked Maxwell to drive. Don't be late, she said. After hanging up, I sank into the sofa, feeling emotionally drained. When had my once love-filled marriage transformed into this cold transaction? I gazed at the rain lashing against the window, the droplets forming chaotic patterns that seemed to mirror my thoughts. Something would have to change. I wouldn't, end up like my mother, broken by a man who had promised to love her. The wedding day dawned with a clear blue sky over Boston. I rose early, carefully applying makeup to hide the shadows under my eyes. I studied my reflection, noting the signs of stress etched into my features. My attempts to discuss our failing marriage with Maxwell had been repeatedly dismissed with, "I'm swamped right now." "If you don't hurry up, we'll be late," Maxwell called impatiently. He stood already dressed in a custom Armani suit, the exaggerated shoulders flaunting his social status. I observed him in the mirror, struggling to remember when I had loved this stranger. "I'll be ready soon," I answered, picking up a lilac-colored dress I had deliberately chosen. The elegant design complemented my figure perfectly, and though I knew Victoria would disapprove, this small defiance felt necessary, my last stand for identity in a family that tried to erase me. Maxwell frowned instantly. "You're wearing that. And those earrings look too flashy for mourning. Is there a problem?" I asked, touching my mother's pearl earrings. "No, that's fine," he said, his voice betraying his disapproval. "Mom said blue or green would be more appropriate. And those pearls are rather provincial." I suppressed my indignation with a deep breath. "This is the dress I've chosen, Maxwell. And these were my mother's pearls. I'd appreciate if your mother would stop dictating my appearance like I'm a child." Maxwell checked his Patek Philippe watch dismissively. "Just hurry. We're leaving at 10 o'clock. The Crawfords are always punctual." When I descended the stairs, Maxwell didn't look up from his phone, his thumbs typing rapidly, a faint smile on his lips. "I'm ready," she announced. Maxwell finally looked up. For a fleeting moment, something flickered in his eyes before vanishing behind indifference. "Finally. Let's go," he said, heading to the door without complimenting my appearance. In the luxury sedan, tension filled the space between us. Maxwell drove in silence, checking his phone at stoplights. I gazed at Boston's upscale Back Bay district with its historic brownstones. The Lingham Hotel, a 1920s landmark frequently used by the Lamberts, hosted Penelope's ceremony in the grand ballroom. Maxwell, I broke the silence carefully. Today could be an opportunity for us to reconnect. Maybe even dance together at the reception. Maxwell barely registered MYT words, typing a message before responding without eye contact. Today is about the Lambert name. Follow protocol. The Crawfords will be watching. I felt a sharp pain in my chest. Can't we enjoy your sister's wedding as a couple? When did we last do anything together? Maxwell's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Today is Penelope's day. Just follow my lead. The seating arrangements are carefully planned. I no longer recognized my husband. I mentally noted his suspicious behavior, frequent unexplained business trips, late returns home, and his guarded phone. Perhaps it was time to face reality. At the hotel entrance, Maxwell handed the keys to a valet. As I moved to exit, Maxwell grabbed my arm uncomfortably. "Audrey, wait in the car for a bit," he said quietly. I stared in disbelief. "What? This is your sister's wedding that I was invited to." Maxwell glanced around nervously. "I just thought I'd greet Mom and Penelope first, then come back for you." Anger replaced hurt, but I maintained composure. "Maxwell, I am your wife. After 8 years, I deserve to be treated as family today." Maxwell reluctantly nodded. "All right, let's go in together. Remember what I said about the Crawfords?" Entering the opulent lobby, I was momentarily captivated by the floral arrangements and silk ribbons. I spotted Victoria and Penelope, who smiled warmly at Maxwell but darkened visibly upon seeing me. Victoria wore couture silk with South Sea pearls, her silver-streaked hair perfectly styled. "Maxwell, you've finally arrived," Victoria kissed his cheeks affectionately while completely ignoring me. "Everyone important is here." "The Crawfords arrived 10 minutes ago," she said. Penelope hugged him sweetly. "Maxwell." She acknowledged me with a cold smile. "Oh, Audrey came too. What an interesting dress choice." Maxwell whispered to Victoria, who frowned disapprovingly at me. "I told you she would insist on coming," his whisper intentionally audible. Nearby guests observed the uncomfortable exchange. I maintained my professional smile despite feeling everyone's judgment. "Good morning, Victoria. That Chanel suits you beautifully." "Penelope, you look radiant today," I said. Victoria snorted derisively while Penelope returned a coldly polite smile. "Let's check in," Victoria commanded, leading them imperiously. I followed several steps behind, anxiety tightening in my stomach. They proceeded through a corridor adorned with orchids and satin ribbons. Victoria and Penelope walked ahead with Maxwell between them, occasionally whispering and laughing. I followed, embodying my position outside the family circle despite 8 years of marriage. At the reception table adorned with towering flowers, Victoria approached confidently. "Lambert," she announced imperiously. "I am Victoria Lambert, mother of the bride. This is Penelope and her brother, Maxwell." The receptionist smiled warmly. "Yes, of course. We've been eagerly expecting you." She marked the guest list and handed over an elegant seating chart. I stepped forward beside Maxwell, attempting to reclaim my place. "May I have your name, please?" the receptionist asked kindly. Before I could respond, Maxwell interjected swiftly. "Oh, her. She's just the driver. Her name won't be on your list." The crushing words made me feel the floor disappear beneath me. A rushing sound filled my ears as the room tilted momentarily. I couldn't believe what I'd heard. After 8 years of marriage and countless humiliations, this public dismissal of my existence exceeded everything before. Nearby guests stared, expressions ranging from shock to morbid curiosity. "Maxwell, what are you?" My words died in my throat. The receptionist looked uncomfortable as she checked the list. "I'm sorry, but you're right. No driver is listed for access," she said. Victoria and Penelope exchanged triumphant glances. I stood frozen, blood draining from my face. My name wasn't even on the invitation list for my sister-in-law's wedding. Maxwell, what is this about? I asked, my voice whisper quiet but steady. I am your wife. Why isn't my name on the guest list? I asked. Conversations hushed as people strained to hear. Maxwell looked uncomfortable with the public scene. Before he could respond, Victoria intervened perfectly. Maxwell, you're needed for Penelope's preliminary photos. The Crawfords are waiting, she said. Maxwell gave me a brief glance of annoyance before turning to follow his mother. In a moment of desperation, I grabbed his arm. You're actually leaving like this? Without explaining, I said. He shook off my hand as if contaminated. Later. This is family time now, he said. Family. That word pierced my heart like a missile. After 8 years, I still wasn't considered family. As Maxwell walked away with Victoria and Penelope, I stood abandoned in the reception area. The staff busied themselves with other guests, avoiding eye contact. Onlookers whispered behind raised hands, watching the scene unfold. Beneath my shock, something new stirred in me. A cold, quiet fury I had never allowed myself to feel before. Victoria reappeared in the reception area, giving curt instructions to the staff before approaching me with predatory determination. Audrey, dear, she called out in a saccharine voice that contradicted her icy expression. She leaned close, her expensive perfume overwhelming, and whispered venomously, did you honestly think someone with your background would ever be accepted into the Lambert family? How pathetically naive. I shivered involuntarily as Victoria's words targeted my deepest insecurities. As if we would welcome someone like you to our important occasions, Victoria continued contemptuously. You're merely Maxwell's temporary diversion. I expected him to tire of his little experiment by now, she said. Something within me, perhaps my last hope for my marriage, shattered instantly. But from those fragments emerged something new, a cold, crystalline fury transforming 8 years of humiliation and today's public insult into unwavering resolve. For the first time, I saw with absolute clarity what needed to be done. As Victoria turned away with a triumphant smile, my hand shot out and grasped her arm firmly. Wait, Victoria, I said. Victoria turned, eyes widening in genuine shock at this unprecedented challenge. With deliberate composure, I opened my handbag and removed a cream-colored envelope bearing Penelope and Dominic's names in elegant calligraphy. Taking a measured breath, I offered a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Then please give them this as a wedding gift, I said. Victoria eyed the envelope suspiciously. A wedding gift? We specified only honeymoon fund contributions. My voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but from containing my resolution. It's not just any gift, Victoria. It's the gift of truth. Please ensure you deliver it to Penelope and Dominic, I said. Victoria reluctantly accepted the envelope as if it might contaminate her. Of course I'll give it to them. But you should leave now. There's clearly no place for you among civilized people, she said. I nodded slowly, a strange calm settling over me. You're right about one thing. There was never a place for me here. But I promise you, Victoria, that's going to change dramatically from this moment forward, I said. Victoria stared at the envelope, unable to interpret my cryptic statement. I straightened my posture, adjusted my bag, and turned away with unexpected dignity. The eavesdropping guests found themselves impressed by my composure amid such humiliation. I sincerely hope it's a memorable ceremony, Victoria. In fact, I guarantee it will be a day none of you will ever forget, I said. I departed with confident steps echoing against the marble floor. My back straight, head high, I walked with a self-assurance dormant for years. Maxwell peered from around a corner, witnessing the exchange. His expression flickered between confusion and the first hints of alarm. I didn't spare him a glance. My years of humiliation had transformed into strength, burning away all fear. I entered the elevator and pressed the lobby button with a steady finger. As the doors began closing, I glimpsed Maxwell rushing toward me, panic on his face. Too late, the doors shut, symbolically separating me from my past life. I studied my reflection in the elevator mirror. Unshed tears glistened in my eyes, but beyond them shone something more powerful, an unwavering determination that transformed me countenance. I took a deep breath and allowed myself a knowing smile. This is the end, Maxwell, I whispered. But for you and your family, it's only the beginning. In the lobby, I walked confidently to the hotel bar and ordered a dry martini. Sipping my drink, I unlocked my phone to display a prominent divorce attorney's contact, saved months ago but never used until now. My mind was irrevocably made up. No turning back, no second chances. As I tapped the call button, a surprising calm washed over me, as if releasing years of accumulated pressure. Upstairs, Victoria would be discovering the evidence of Maxwell's affair with Zoe Crawford and the detailed financial analysis revealing Lambert Properties' precarious state, all compiled using my professional expertise. The USB drive contained additional damning evidence, inappropriate messages, and a comprehensive forensic accounting report impossible to dismiss. I raised her glass in a solitary toast to my liberation. The martini caught the light, sparkling like the promise of a new beginning. In the grand ballroom, wedding preparations proceeded with precision. Penelope was getting final touches on her makeup while Victoria inspected the decorations, anxiously eyeing the cream-colored envelope in her hand. "What are you looking at, Mom?" Penelope asked, emerging in her custom Vera Wang gown, a diamond tiara sparkling in her hair. "You look breathtaking, darling." Victoria momentarily forgot her concerns. She reluctantly held up the envelope. "This is apparently from Audrey." "Audrey? Where did she go?" "I thought Maxwell sent her home." "She left." "Of course," Victoria replied with satisfaction. "But she insisted on leaving this gift." Victoria opened the envelope carefully and removed a small card. She read aloud, "To Penelope and Dominic, for the beginning of your new life together, a gift of truth from Audrey." "A gift of truth?" Penelope frowned. "What does that mean?" Victoria removed the remaining contents, a USB drive, several photographs, and a financial report. As she examined the first photo, the color drained from her face. "What is it, Mom?" Penelope demanded. Victoria's trembling hand revealed a high-resolution photograph of Maxwell embracing a young woman in a hotel suite. "Oh my God," Penelope whispered. "That's Zoe Crawford, Dominic's sister." Multiple photos documented the affair in detail, Maxwell and Zoe entering hotels, dining together, and in intimate moments. Each was dated, showing a year-long relationship. "Since when?" Victoria managed weakly. With growing horror, she examined the other documents, divorce papers, plans for my new consulting firm, and a forensic accounting report exposing Lambert Properties' financial manipulation. "This is fabricated." Victoria protested, but her eyes registered the accuracy of the analysis that only an insider could have created. At that moment, Dominic approached in his tuxedo. "The ceremony is ready to begin," he said before noticing their distress. His eyes fell on the photographs Victoria was struggling to hide. Several images slipped to the floor. Dominic picked one up, his expression transforming from confusion to cold fury as he recognized his sister with Maxwell. "Is this Zoe?" he asked, his voice controlled but dangerous. "With Maxwell?" "My sister?" "Dominic, please, we can explain," Penelope stammered. Dominic reviewed the photos methodically, his jaw tightening. "Since when?" he demanded. "How long has this been going on?" "With my sister?" "While planning to marry into my family." Victoria called desperately for her son. Maxwell hurried over from his conversation with Judge Crawford. "What's the problem?" "The ceremony starts in 5 minutes," he said. Dominic thrust the photos in Maxwell's face. "Explain this. Now." The blood drained from Maxwell's face as his eyes darted between the photographs and financial report. How did you get these?" he stammered. "Audrey," Dominic said through gritted teeth. "From your wife." Maxwell was stunned into silence. "She orchestrated this?" "But how?" he said. "What does it matter how she obtained the evidence?" Dominic exploded. "You've been sleeping with my sister while engaged to marry mine." After a calculated pause, Dominic drove his fist into Maxwell's jaw with devastating precision. Maxwell collapsed into the ceremonial chairs, toppling flower arrangements. The ballroom fell silent. Even the string quartet stopped mid-measure. "The wedding is cancelled," Dominic announced with finality. He straightened his tie, nodded to his shocked parents, and strode toward the exit. Penelope broke down. "Dominic, wait," she cried, chasing after him, her wedding dress dragging across the marble floor. Victoria frantically examined the financial documents, her hands trembling. "Maxwell, is this accurate? Are we truly facing bankruptcy?" Maxwell dabbed blood from his lip. "That's impossible," he muttered, but his eyes revealed the truth. "He desperately tried calling me," his face contorted with rage and fear. In the lobby, guests whispered about the cancelled ceremony and growing scandal. The rumors spread quickly, amplified by text messages and social media updates. Victoria clutched her pearls as she reviewed the divorce papers detailing my legal claims and evidence of financial improprieties. "She knew everything about our finances," Victoria murmured in disbelief. "Maxwell couldn't reach me by phone." "Where is that woman?" he shouted. "How dare she do this to us?" The once immaculate venue was in disarray, collapsed champagne tower, abandoned wedding cake, and Penelope's sobbing echoing from the corridor. Victoria discovered a note on the divorce papers: "True family consists of people who respect you as an individual, not those who use you while demeaning your worth. This is my gift of truth." Maxwell returned to his mother. "What should we do? Her father is a federal judge. This could mean criminal charges." Victoria looked at her son, fury and terror in her eyes. "You brought this disaster upon us with your recklessness," she whispered. The Lambert family's carefully constructed world was collapsing around them, destroyed by the woman they had publicly humiliated just moments earlier. Cheers. Crystal glasses clinked together in the private room of Bistro Nouveau, one of Boston's finest restaurants. I, Audrey Holloway, raised my champagne flute, smiling at my friends with newfound confidence that had been absent during my years as Audrey Lambert. "To Audrey Holloway and her remarkable journey," Naomi Chen declared. "And to the continued success of Holloway Financial Strategies, changing how ethical businesses operate," she added. A year had passed since that fateful October morning. After walking out of the Lingham Hotel, I had gone directly to my attorney with ironclad evidence of Maxwell's affair with Zoe Crawford, detailed financial analysis of Lambert Properties' precarious situation, and plans for my own consulting firm. The divorce settled quickly, as the Lamberts couldn't risk the public and legal fallout from contesting my terms. "Did you see Maxwell's profile in the Business Journal?" Naomi whispered across the table. "He's working at a luxury car dealership in Manhattan now. Lambert Properties filed for Chapter 11 last quarter," she said. "Is that so?" I responded with genuine indifference. "I honestly don't think about him anymore," I said. The initial weeks after the divorce had brought sleepless nights of anger and grief. But she had channeled her energy into building Holloway Financial Strategies, named for her mother's family, focusing on ethical business practices and supporting women entrepreneurs. What about Victoria? Elise Wright, a tech entrepreneur in my circle, asked. "From what I understand, she's hiding at a cousin's estate in New Hampshire," Naomi replied. "Completely ostracized from Boston society since the scandal," she added. "And Penelope?" Camila Rodriguez, a journalist and new friend, inquired. "She moved to Los Angeles," I noted without resentment. "Trying to reinvent herself in fashion, I believe." "Making a fresh start," I said. I gazed at Boston's skyline through the windows. This city, once my gilded cage, had become the stage for my renaissance. I was no longer an accessory but the architect of my own destiny. "I've been thinking about what real family means," I said thoughtfully. "It's not blood connections or shared names. It's not money or social position," I continued. I looked at my friends, Naomi who had stood by me, Elise who became my first client, and Camilla whose integrity had helped share my business philosophy. "Real family consists of people who respect you as an individual and value your gifts. People who lift you up instead of diminishing you," I said. I smiled warmly. "I think that's what true family is, and I'm grateful to have found mine," I said. A toast to the future, I raised my glass again, the self-gifted diamond ring on my right hand catching the light. "To creating the lives we truly deserve." Outside, spring stars appeared in the twilight sky. A new season, a fresh beginning. I smiled, my eyes clear and focused on possibilities rather than past wounds. I discovered that true freedom comes from the courage to finally become myself.